then I would recommend The Little Prince over Alice in Wonderland. But Alice in Wonderland is a very nice book as well. I love Alice in Wonderland. It's like it inspired a lot of games, a lot of books nowadays. So it's a noise noise nice book. What's that? What's that book? Like that orange book about youth. That orange book about youth. What are like your required readings when you were in high school? Like what's that orange book? Can't find it. Like the carousel. There's like a carousel in the cover. Orange book carousel. I remember the cover, but I don't remember the title. Oh my gosh. Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye. Because I remember the song. If a body catch a body, coming to the right. Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye. See, it's Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. It's published in 1945 to 1946, and it was published as a novel in 1951. Yeah, yeah, it's about youth. Yeah, it's a young adult fiction, and it made me start reading young adult. And of course, if you know To Kill a Mockingbird, that book is so good. To Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus is like Atticus sets the standard high. Atticus sets the bar high. So yeah, it's widely read in high school and middle school, and it won Modern American Literature Award Pulitzer Prize. Atticus Finch. I really love, really love, really love, really love. Okay, let's read the short preview of To Kill a Mockingbird. The unforgettable novel of a childhood in a sleepy southern town and the crisis of conscience that rocked it. To Kill a Mockingbird became both an instant bestseller and a critical success. Oh my gosh, why did I read that? Okay, set in a small southern town of Macomb, Alabama during the Depression, To Kill a Mockingbird follows 3 years in the life of 8-year-old Scout Finch. Scout Finch is um Scout Finch is the one of the offspring of Atticus Finch. Scout Finch, her brother. It Atticus Finch daughter is Scout Finch. So this is from a point of view of an 8-year-old Scout Finch, her brother Jem, and their father Atticus. 3 years punctuated by the arrest and eventual trial of a young black man accused of raping a white woman. Though her story explores big themes, Harper Lee chooses to tell it through the eyes of a child. The result is a tough and tender novel of race, class, justice, and the pain of growing up. This is like all of the issues like in like one book, and it's like it tackles it very, very, very nicely. I love To Kill a Mockingbird as well. Um, we had mythology and Don Quixote. Oh, Donkey. There's a shop in Japan called Don Quixote. Oh, right. We still needed to get your Discord. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. I also almost forgot about that one because I have just resurrected from my body pain body pain of doing military exercises, and I'm afraid we're gonna do more military exercises. So yeah, let's do Sweet Home Alabama. Iwan Zone. The search in Japan was named after the character. Oh, donkey. Sweet. What, you have to read the whole thing? Is it long or is it short? I haven't like read the whole thing, but I know the premise of it. But I would say for like a required novel to read in high school, I would recommend Of Mice and Men. It follows the story of Lenny and George. I would not spoil anything, so Of Mice and Men. Oh my gosh. This is like the first book that made me cry. Like I didn't expect to cry in an academic book because of an academic book. A book that is needed academically. Academic book. But man, it's also the period is also the Great Depression. So Of Mice and Men is a novella written by John Steinbeck, published in 1937. It narrates the experiences of George Milton and Lenny Small, two displaced migrant ranch workers who moved from place to place in California in search of new job opportunities during the Great Depression in the United States. So, man, man, of Mice and Men, it's like 3.9 on Goodreads. No, you guys, these reviewers are just hurt. It's 4.1 in Barnes and Noble. I really like Of Mice and Men because of like, I don't know, like the themes. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, it's like it has great themes and it has this constant foreshadowing. I really love foreshadowing, and there's this constant worry about this character, if this character is gonna do something, and this other character, is it going to hurt this character, and this character has to protect this character. So man, there's this tension throughout the whole book. And when I was reading the last chapter, I was playing Safe and Sound by Taylor Swift, and man, I was just crying. Man, this is very, yeah. I was crying because of a book. That's the first book that made me cry. It's not a romance book. It's Of Mice and Men, and man, I have high respect for this book. It's a novel book. I don't think you can spoil it. Yeah, yeah. It's. I think even if it's a novel book, maybe some people haven't known, because I haven't heard of it until it was required for us to read it. So, ching. Chicken is very considered to those who haven't read the book. Oh, thank you, Wanyazon. I really like want you guys to like enjoy the journey as much as I did. So, tada, there we go. So that's my favorite academically required book, and the runner-up is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And then for romance, I haven't like read a lot of romance because why? Why? Like I read manhwa, and like I'm why do I not read often or romance often? Often? Romance and often. I don't read romance often because one character would only like his or her personality would be the love interest of this other character. And I don't know, this like romance are like most of the time or sometimes poorly written in terms of character development. Like we only have the protagonist to like develop, but not the other characters. The other characters are like, I don't know, background characters that make the protagonist look awesome. So yeah, I have like 50-50 thoughts on romance. But if it's like for just the kilig, for just the excitement, I would read a romance for like, yay, they hug, yay, they held hands. But in terms of like progression, yeah, I would respect romance that have like interesting like dynamic. Yeah. Yeah. Mm, I know, but it still was funny. I said, one year old, read summary and movie. I thought you said romance. No, romance. I don't read romance. Don't read romance. Okay, there we go. I would suggest for classical romance, I would suggest, like, not everybody will like this suggestion, but it's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So this is a story told. Is it told by Elizabeth Bennet, or is it like a third person point of view? I forgot now. It's third person point of view, but it's a story about Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. See, just by telling you guys about it, I get the fluff. I get the fluff because yeah, I think this is not a spoiler, but it's like enemies to lovers, and yeah, no, none of they hate each other like at first sight. Hate at first sight. Yeah, but it progressed into this romance. I like Pride and Prejudice, and it's like the best work of Jane Austen. So I love that book because it's also like a short read. So I really appreciate it. I also read it like on ebook. So It was very quick, and man, I savor the flop scenes, and yeah, I like the progression of the story as well. So it's a yes for me, even though I'm skeptical of romances. So there we go. The quote there is, "My good opinion once lost is lost forever." It's a nice quote. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quote in Pride and Prejudice. So in Filipino, we're required to read a lot of books, like a first year Ibong Adarna, second year was, I don't know what second year was. First year Ibong Adarna, second year was, I think it's a romance. Romance Filipino, no? Romance Filipino. What's like a required reading in Filipino? There's third year and fourth year is Noli and Elfili, but what's like a second year, no? Filipino. Florante at Laura. Yes, Flora. Yes, thank you for saying that. It's a romance. But it like blah, it blah, it blah. It disappeared, like goodbye. Goodbye Florante at Laura. Yeah. I like Ibong Adarna. It would be like a runner up, but the number one Filipino required reading would be, what's better, Noli or Elfili? I like Elfili more because it's a smart woo explosions. Yeah, I like Elfili more than Noli, because Noli is very, it's much more like a introduction to Elfili, because it's like prequel. It's a prequel to Elfili. So in order to have this tough protagonist in Elfili, you have to you have to present a lot of obstacles to him in Noli Me Tangere. It's a, man, I really love, I love those books because it handles and tackles a lot of issues. So I wouldn't like summarize Noli and Elfili, but to those non-Filipino here in the stream, Noli Me Tangere or Touch Me Not and El Filibusterismo, the Filibuster, are novels written by our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, and he's a very, very, very smart individual. Yeah, he's our national hero because he has written a lot of interesting works that sparked nationalism in Filipinos at the time of the Spanish occupation in the Philippines. He he's great. He's great. He has a lot of works like short stories and like short works. So if you're interested in reading Dr. Jose Rizal, please go ahead and do so. What's a short one written by Jose Rizal that's interesting to read? Indulgencia. Yeah, Indulgencia. I would recommend the Indulgencia. El Fili, because it's Rizal edgy. Yeah, El Fili is very edgy. Explosion. Filibuster sounds like some kind of finishing. Yeah, it's very, very notable word. Yeah. And Dr. Rizal studied in Madrid, overseas, to learn other languages and to be proficient in literature as well as other occupation. And he was like, he's everything. Dr. Rizal was also an ophthalmologist, and man, can do everything. So yeah, Dr. Rizal, salute salute to our national hero. And then I would quote a great, my favorite quotes by Rizal. Ignorance is servitude, because as a man thinks, so he a man who does not think for himself and allowed himself to be guided by the thought of another. It's like the beast. It's like the beast led by a halter. Oh my gosh, I can't even understand my own handwriting. Let me just repeat that. Ignorance is servitude, because as a man thinks, so he a man who does not think for himself and allowed himself to be guided by the thought of another is like the beast led by a halter. So yeah, ignorance is letting people take charge of you, even though you are not a thing. You are not a thing because when you're ignorant, you're acting like you're a thing. You don't think you don't think for yourself. So you fight ignorance by being educated and by being you know you by being someone who cares about situations around you. Another quote of Dr. Rizal about ignorance is that ignorance is bondage because like mind. This is like the short version of what I have read earlier. Bondage, one. These are very big words. Ignorance is bondage because like mind. Well, what happens in your mind is what defines you as a person. What you think about is you. That's you. Um, he also went abroad for the ladies. Isn't like dying for Saimajo? Which line is dying? Silent majority. I am learning so much about the Philippines today, Scientisha. Oh, um, thank you for that. I'm happy. I'm happy I can impart knowledge about the Philippines. Ignorance. What? No. what? What's that? Why you say that word? No, no. So yeah, he's a very interesting person, Jose Rizal. So after recommending Filipino Filipino stuff, Filipino to read, yeah, because those are like my favorite ones. No Limitangay and El Filipisterismo, but they're like short ones out there on the internet, so you can read his works. And if you like the way that Rizal writes, the way he's not it's not just like low key, um it's like high key against like politics at that time. So yeah, yeah, it's a propaganda. So it's a propaganda movement wherein he as an ilustrado, meaning ilustrado means like the educated ones were writing stories for all the Filipinos to know about the injustices and like the suffering of the majority of the Filipinos in this rhyme of the Spanish people, of the Spaniards. So it's a very like thought-provoking work of art because it's literature is a work of art. So yeah, I love how he does this, like not low key, but you can do something to contribute to a cause. And Rizal chose to pick up a pen and a paper to write and to distribute knowledge that he knows and to wake this nationalism sleeping in the Filipinos. Um, the one about not opposing the leader, you said ignorance is wrong. Oh, that's a fake moment by Rizal. Yeah, maybe like if Rizal is like alive right now, he would do like a lot of blog posts and like put hashtags in his post, and just point out what's currently happening in the Philippines in order for everyone to be aware. And then there we go. I would go ahead and proceed to Agatha Christie. I already like said the Agatha Christie recommendation, and then there were Narn and Murder on Orient Express. And these stories feature Poirot, that Belgian detective with the mustache. When I read Poirot, I would really uh, I would really imagine the mustache like that, and because he's like stroking the mustache, and I can feel it in my little gray cells. Yeah, I love Poirot. Poirot is like a keychain. Poirot. Okay, and then runner-up would be Tommy and Tuppence because their dynamic is. Yes, because instead of saying Bonnie and Clyde, instead of saying you admire the dynamic of Bonnie and Clyde, you say you admire the dynamic of Tommy and Tuppence because they're detectives. We salute to law-abiding citizens of this law-abiding citizens. Yeah, I love Tommy and Tuppence, so please check them out as well. Well, I hope like there's like a modern movie for Tommy and Tuppence because this is a romance that I'd like to watch. It's one person helps the other and another helps the other, and then if if this person has like mistake or shortcoming, this person will help, and then it's the same. So I really love that dynamic wherein they both have characters and not just being the love interest. So that's a good romance for me. Therefore, is a keyboard warrior. Maybe there's like a the the oh, I can't speak in English now. There's like a the the like a negative implication of being a keyboard warrior, because most of the keyboard warriors are just typing and typing away words without meaning, or um without a path, without a goal. So keyboard warriors say sometimes, what's your point? Just go straight to your point. And people are like arguing in the internet without proper like knowledge at all. They're just saying stuff because of their emotions, and they're not basing their opinions on facts. So yeah, that's my problem about keyboard warriors. If in order to have a logical argument, you have to be properly equipped with knowledge or wisdom in order to elaborate on your point. And if you have nice points, I would read your opinion, and I would take it as constructive criticism, and not like ju no, you suck, your opinion don't matter because you are this kind of person. That kind of argument is just a waste of time. You don't argue with those kind of people, because it's like talking to a wall. It's you can even you can even have more fruitful conversations when you're talking to a wall instead of like a keyboard warrior. You say Eddie Wow or Mama Mo. Yeah, that's gonna be so sad. And sometimes like people argue with ad hominem, and no, as a debater, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. So there we go. I also like I also like how do I say this? I also recommended Ages and Demons already. That's the first part of Robert Langdon's adventure in the series made by Dan Brown. Yeah, check it out, because if you like symbols and action. And I noticed that Dan Brown has this pattern when he writes his stories. I will just move this. So what are his patterns? What is his pattern? So first, there's like a mysterious murder of an important figure, and then there's a mystery behind that. So why was he murdered, and then something like that. Then sites, amazing sites. For example, in Ages and Demons, there's Rome, Vatican, and then there's a strong woman, strong woman in the beginning that would help him achieve his goals. Like I really like Dan Brown's women characters, because those women are strong, and they're not just damsels in distress. Like, okay, maybe they can be physically weak or physically weaker than the male protagonist, but no, those women can run with the protagonist. Those women can think sometimes better than the protagonist, and I really appreciate that about his books. Angels and Demons was first. My whole life I thought the Da Vinci was. The Da Vinci was the first book that I have read by Dan Brown, and I like the Da Vinci Code, but Angels and Demons was first, and then the Da Vinci Code, and then what's next? Maybe I get them mixed up, but to to I think Lost Symbol, Inferno, and then Origin. Let me check if I'm correct. Dun dun dun. Langdon. Chronology. I haven't watched the movie yet by Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. Okay, there we go. Angels and Demons were 2000. The Da Vinci Code 2003. The Lost Symbol 2009. Inferno 2013. Origin was in 2017. So, dun dun dun. 1 year on. This one just got more publicity because it was a little more controversial. Yeah. It's banned. It's one of the banned books. There's a place wherein there's like banned books, and they put the covers in the the banned books. Then it's like a compilation of banned books. Place. What's that place? Oh my. There's like a band books. What's the place where there's a band books? Place where they post where they post band books. What's that book? I think it's in Europe something. Europe. I can't. The Da Vinci Code. Da Vinci Code. I'm just doing side band 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 band. It's banned in Lebanon. um. Yep. It's. I don't know. Maybe I'll. What's the place where they post band books? Can't. Tuta. I'm trying to think now because the music is like me thinking. Oh, it's banned in China. It's banned in Lebanon and in China. Yeah, it's very very controversial book. But I like that book. I like that book. Mm, where they put that book? Put that book. Put that book. Where they put that book? Put that book. Where they put? Where are the banned books place? Banned book place. Please. Where they put that book? Da-na-na. Just searching now where they put those books. Oh, cover. Where is that? I think I forgot. I forgot the place. Maybe I'll get back to you. We're in when we're in Europe. I'll get back to you when I remember. remember. Remember where's that? Poo, 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 poo. Poo, poo, poo. Poo, poo, poo. Yeah, I can remember. Oh, La PSK claimed idol catchphrase 1 hour ago. I haven't read that, sorry. Kurakurari, kurakuraru, anato no mao shoujo tante idol. Tanchikon. Welcome to today's book book review. Book review. I remember PewDiePie doing book review for like it's not just a short period of time, but he had done a book review series, but I think it has like different audience as opposed to his usual audience, wherein the usual audience like of the gaming community. But I really appreciate his book review series, and I hope his book review would come again, would come back, would come back. I love book review by PewDiePie because he has read interesting books, not just like very, mainstream books. I not that I hate mainstream books, but do I have something against mainstream books? Maybe, maybe, maybe. Like not when a book is mainstream, it's not necessarily good, right? Yeah. So I feel bad for books that are like in the shadows, even though they're better than the mainstream ones. The church groups weren't really fans of it. Yeah. On the censorship section of the page. Books are usually banned by individual countries or libraries, so there isn't an archive or all the banned books. I think there's a place wherein there's like a place wherein they post the covers of the book. It's a legit place, and I really wanna go to that place. Just no banned books. Books are for nerds. No. Oh, maybe books are for. Maybe I am a nerd, because nerd is not a bad thing. Being a nerd is not necessarily a bad thing, because you learn a lot more than other people, and is that a good thing? If I have something better, if I have better knowledge than other people, I would not necessarily consider it as a bad thing. I would consider it as a good thing. The Vatican has a collection of offensive material. That is what you mean. Maybe is that the Vatican? But I would like, the thing that I remember is that it's in Europe, probably probably in Europe. And yeah, they I don't know why they collect. If it's banned, why you collect it and put it in one place? That just attracts more people to read it. Okay, next recommendation would be The Deception Point, by Dan Brown, because the protagonist here is a strong female character, and it's set on different locations, but the female character, that's the protagonist, is in the Arctic. Arctic. Yes, in a snowy setting. So it's more high stakes than a normal running around mystery. So it's a mystery that involves politics and conspiracy, and there's like other people on another location in the United States doing other stuff. So I love how side characters shine in this book. And wow, if someone failed, like if any of the characters failed, they wouldn't have done or saved the day. So yeah, it's a good book, and I love female empowerment in this in this series. And then PewDiePie, yeah, I already mentioned the PewDiePie's book review, and also Dr. Mike's book review. I really look forward to buying and reading What Everybody is Saying by Joe Navarro. Joe Navarro is a former Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI spy catcher. He's a spy catcher. Yeah, I love him. I love I love Joe Navarro, because you can search him on YouTube, Joe Navarro on YouTube, and he has very interesting um, tips on how to see the presence, or yeah, see the presence of lying. Like, there are like indications that someone is lying, but not like dead giveaways that someone is lying. So yeah, I really like appreciate that that series, or that those YouTube videos by Joe Navarro. And then I would also give favorite quotes from some of my favorite books. Um, by Dan Brown, there's just no substitute for the truth. Yeah, it's kind of like Detective Conan quote. Shinjitsu wa itsumo hitotsu. There is only one truth. I love I love that quote. But sometimes you can argue that that quote is like not 100% real, because one truth for me could be another truth for you, depending on our point of view. But there's a fine line between the truth and the fiction. So you better be careful of crossing those lines. Crossing. Because sometimes our memory can trick us. But if you have concrete evidence that is admissible in court, then that is the truth per se. Another quote is, anyone who said power was not addictive had never really experienced it. Man, love this quote. So, yep, those are my favorite quotes. So, what am I what I put this like earlier before this stream. Oh, I think our oh, jazz. I love the music. So I would like um power. Yeah, I would put this on the side now, and I would read a short story for you guys. Short story, okay. Before I read the short story, I would enumerate what makes a good book for me. Um, First and foremost, good grammar. I would really despise the book, even though it has good plot and everything. I would not read it if it's bad grammar, and repetition of words and poor vocabulary.